Hey, church family, I am sure that you have heard plenty of people make the statement that they can't wait until things get back to normal. And maybe you've even said that yourself. But what does that really mean? If we were to look up the definition in the dictionary, normal means to conform to a standard. It's to do what's expected or what's typical. And when most of us say that we want to get back to normal, what we're saying is we want to get back to our normal routines and our normal schedules. But here's a question I want us to consider today. Was normal really working for us? Was normal working for you and your family? Because if we're honest, for a lot of families, normal was dad working really long hours at the office, trying to get a promotion and earn more money so they could build a bigger house and buy a boat and maybe buy a new car or send their kids to a better school. Normal for other families was spending way too much money, more than they made, on things that they didn't really even need, just to try to keep up with the people around them. Normal for a lot of our students was just dealing with an overwhelming amount of anxiety over their grades and the pressures of all the extracurricular activities they were involved in. Normal for a lot of families was dad being with one group of kids at practice over here and mom being over here, and they never really got to spend much time together. And because of that, their marriage began to fall apart because they drifted apart. So I think we should ask the question, was normal really working, or do we need a new normal? Because I think as we look at the Bible today, I think we're going to see that what God's Word teaches is that what our culture says is normal, God calls broken. So let's look really quick at one verse. It's Romans chapter 12, verse 2. And it simply says, do not conform any longer to the pattern of this world. That simply means do not allow the culture to press you into its mold. Don't just do what everybody else does. We've been called to live differently and to schedule our families differently. I just want us to consider that today. It also says that we should, instead of conforming to the patterns of this world, we should be transformed by the renewing of our minds. And that takes place by reading God's Word. What it's talking about is allowing us and our minds to be focused on what God says we should live for and what should be our priorities. That's what that actually means, that we allow our minds to be reshaped so that we think differently about the world and our lives and our families and our schedules. And there's an incredible promise to that. It says that when we choose not to conform and we choose to allow God's Word to transform our hearts and our minds, then we'll be able to test and approve what God's will is, His good, pleasing, and perfect will. Now that's incredible news. First of all, that God has a plan for my life and your life, and you can know it and I can know it. But we have to allow our minds to be transformed. So what I'm suggesting and what I'm praying for is that we would ask God to give us a vision for a new normal in our life. A new vision for being normal the way God sees normal, and that is making Him the priority of our life. Not falling in line with culture, but choosing to be different. Choosing to fight against the current of our culture and allow our families to be what He wants them to be. So I'm just asking, what does the new normal look like for you? What does it involve? I think for a lot of us, it involves making sure our relationship with God is the priority of our life. I also think it means that family becomes before anything else. Even the extracurricular activities that are good, that consume all of our time and our attention, that we focus on what's our best for our family. I also think it means that we focus in on our church, that when we're allowed to come back to church, we make it a priority, that it's not a second option if there's nothing else, but that we choose to serve sacrificially, that we don't just attend when it's convenient, but that we sacrifice because we believe the mission of the local church to reach the lost is one of the most important things we can do with our lives. So I just want to throw that out there for you today to consider. Maybe God has a new normal for you. We're praying for you, and we're looking forward to seeing you as soon as we can.